Hello and welcome to the channel. In today's session we're going to be taking a look at the interior design, more specifically using a technical drawing style called one-point perspective. In today's session you're going to need an A4 sheet of paper, a pencil, an eraser and a ruler. Let's get started. Okay, so I've taken this out of a booklet that I use at the academy where I work, but this could quite clearly just be a simple blank sheet of A4 paper. I've left myself some rules on the side over here. There's 10 things I want to include, those being 2 windows, making sure that one of them is on a different wall to the other, a doorway with a door frame, a wardrobe, a double bed, some laminate flooring, a rectangular rug with some kind of pattern on it, a fishbowl, a wooden table with some legs, a wall-mounted TV set and some wall coving on the ceiling. And our design brief today is going to be that we've been asked to design a bedroom for a young couple. As their interior designer, you have been asked to include the following. So, with our sheet of A4 paper, let's line that up. We need to place in our vanishing point, or VP. So there is our vanishing point there, that's a little X. And you might not be able to see it very clearly, so what I'll do is I'll go around it so you can see this a little bit easier. We have actually got around the outside this rectangle. Now whenever I'm starting a drawing in perspective, especially a one-point perspective drawing, it's quite important that we start off with that rectangle, because that's going to start and be our back wall from where our drawing starts to come from. Now from there I'm going to draw from this vanishing point. All my lines go from the vanishing point. Line my straight line like you'll have a ruler here, and notice how I go through this corner here. So I go through that corner and just keep going till I get to the end. I'm going to do that on the opposite side. So from the X I'm going to draw my straight line out, make sure I line it up with that corner and then pull it all the way to the end. Now some of you might be able to see now and visualize that I've actually got that floor put in place now, so this is where my floor is going to go. And then all we need to do now is place in the other two. So from this side, get my ruler, line it up with this corner, and strike it straight through to the end. And lastly, the same again this side, so straight through that corner, like so. Now if you've got a rubber, that's brilliant, you can rub these bits out, we don't need those, so I'm just going to rub these lines out of the way. And then lo and behold, as if by magic, we have got our room. We've got the back wall and the 2 sides, our floor and the ceiling of course as well. Right, now I'll always teach students to do this to begin with. Now it's easier to start on the back wall, so whatever I'm going to place is just a 2-dimensional drawing with maybe a little bit of shadow on it. So I'm going to start off by creating a very simple rectangle. So I'm going to use my ruler to make sure this is nice and straight. And I'll even put a little handle there. Now my specification point here does say that my door needs to include a door frame, so I'm going to use my ruler and my pencil and I'm going to draw that little frame around the outside, because you can't really have a door without a door frame. It's got nowhere to go. So infinitely now my drawing is starting to look much more better. Right, so essentially that's my door done. Not too difficult there. Now the next part, I'm going to tilt the page around slightly so I get a better angle with my ruler, and I'm going to kind of line it up with the top here. So I'm going to line it up with the top of the door, and I'm going to draw another rectangle like this. This is going to become one of my windows, and inside the window I'm going to draw a window frame, otherwise it's just a painting on the wall. Like this. There we go. Now with this window, to make it look a little bit more like it's a window, I just put a little highlight in the corner there, a little highlight down here, And maybe I just draw a little bit of foliage in the background. Maybe some trees are in the background or outside, so it looks like we can see out into the garden. Now from here, now this bit's quite tricky. We're going to go, I'll show you this way actually. From the vanishing point we're going to come straight out and we're going to go into this corner here, and we're going to project our lines onto this wall. Now that will look a little bit like this. Oops. As long as I don't miscue my line. Let's get the ruler first and then go straight through like that. I'm going to do the same thing from this vanishing point. I've got to start from that vanishing point, otherwise it's not going to work. If I don't come from here, it's going to go wrong, and I'm going to end up in this corner. I'm going to project my line out somewhere about there. Something like that will be fine. And these are projection lines, so these are quite small lines at this moment, quite faint. I'm going to place a vertical line in that cuts across those lines there, and I'm going to place another one in over here. Straight up and straight, not at an angle, not at an angle at all. I'm going to go straight up and straight down, so it's got to go like that. Okay. Now from there, I can project part of a window frame like that. I can bring it in on the side. I can bring it down this side. And these are just vertical lines going straight up and straight down. Add a bit of thickness to this one, and we'll end up with a little bit of thickness under here as well, like that. I can then apply the same technique I did for that window, and then maybe I can put something in the background over there as well, but for now I'll leave it off. So if I go back to my original drawing, I've now got two windows on different walls. Now with my razor I can rub out the bits that I don't want. My construction lines, I can rub these out. Keep these lines faint, ladies and gentlemen, and that'll allow you to then just sketch over the top of it if you need to. Nice and dark. There we go. So I've created myself two windows. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to tick that off. I've done that, I've done the doorway, wardrobe's next. Okay, so with the wardrobe, I'm going to keep things simple. We're going to always go from a rectangle starting point wherever possible, because rectangles in perspective are fairly easy drawings to start with. So I'm going to start on this line somewhere, and I'm going to come up. I'm going to just draw that rectangle, that normal horizontal line like this, and then I'm going to come all the way back down again, and then I'm going to draw another horizontal line there to finish it off. So all I've got is a rectangle. Now, with my razor, I'm going to rub out these bits in here, and I'm going to go back towards the vanishing point like so, and then from here back towards the vanishing point like that. Now somewhere on here I can choose a vertical line to just pull down my wardrobe. I'll put it there. You might be thinking, well, there's a right mess there, sir. What are we going to do about that? Well, quite simply, we're just going to use the eraser and rub out the bits that I don't need now. So actually I'm going to end up rubbing out part of my window, but that's okay, because the window's now already placed in perspective. So just rub out the lines, these construction lines here. These will be fairly faint lines anyway, so they'll be easy to rub out. Now, last thing I do is place a line straight down the middle of my wardrobe, and then with a very faint line I'll just mark out where the handles can go. So I've got my wardrobe there. Okay, and there's my perspective drawing starting to come along. Okay, right, next on my list I have the double bed. Double bed is done the same way. I'm going to place it on the right hand side of my wall. I'm going to place a rectangle to begin with, and I'm going to line it up on this line again. If I line it up on this line, then it's going to come out of the wall. If I line it up in front of it or behind it, then it's going to be off the wall. So try and line up your first line with that corner. So again, I'm going to keep things as simple as I can by just drawing out rectangles. I'll ignore that phone call for now because this is more important. So just a simple rectangle to begin with. Now of course what I'm going to do is project those lines back. So using my pencil, I'm heading back towards this vanishing point with a nice straight edge. Same over here. Same in this corner. You can see that my line straighten up because I'm working digitally, but you guys will be using a ruler for that. Now I'm going to come across horizontally, and where they meet I'm going to go straight back up and then straight across again. So I'm effectively just copying this shape there. Now again, we need to rub out our construction lines. Like that. Get rid of that line there, that's part of my floor. There we go. I'm going to leave some of these in as well so that you can see where I'm rubbing out those lines, so you can see that even this drawing isn't perfect. I'll add in a couple of pillows, so I'm just going to sketch a couple of pillows, just rub out the bits in between. I might even add in a perspective little blanket that can go over the top like that. Maybe I'll bring it down a little bit like that. There we go. That looks quite good. Again, I can rub out these lines that I don't need. Okay, so let's have a look where we're at now. We've got the double bed done, laminate wooden flooring. This one's fairly straightforward. All I need is a straight line going from the vanishing point. I'm going to keep doing this all the way across the drawing. Now adding this laminate flooring in is really going to help your design. It's going to add that extra level of detail to perspective drawing, and I'm going to carry that on underneath. So even though I'm not going to go straight through the drawing, I am going to go and keep my drawing in perspective. Just tilt that so I get a better angle. There we go, lovely. So I've projected all those lines down, and again, you've probably guessed it, we're now going to rub out the bits that we don't need. And some of you might be thinking, yeah, but sir, you're always rubbing out your door, you're rubbing out a window, you're rubbing out something you already drawn. I said, yeah, well, that's sometimes is part of the parcel. Now, when we finish this, as you can see already, we're really starting to come up with a really nice drawing here. And with a perspective drawing, you need to get used to the idea of rubbing out construction lines and keeping your lines really faint, because you're going to have them, you've got to have them. Without the construction lines, it's very difficult to draw in perspective. Can be done, but difficult without plenty of practice. So there we go. There we are. So now we've got that in there, and if I just go back to the bed, I could come in here like this, couldn't I? I could come across like this, and I could drop that down there like that, and then maybe I could continue these lines on back towards the X, so these go underneath the bed, and I've created myself a little little set of legs. Let's just wipe that out a minute. Let's put those back in. There we go. So you can see underneath the bed slightly. Right, got that rectangular rug. Let's just start with that horizontal line. I'll start another horizontal line over here, and then back to the vanishing point, back to the vanishing point like that, and then again I'm going to rub out the bits I don't need. It did say do it with a pattern. I'm going to add a little bit of thickness underneath and a little bit of shadow there, and then I'm going to put in my little pattern like this. There we go, there's my little circular pattern for my rug. Fishbowl next. So what should we have? Should we have a table coming out here? Let's do a table. So again, I'm going to draw out my rectangle, and you see I'm sketching there a little bit just to make it a little bit neat. Let's not do that. Let's do it properly like I was showing you before, with a nice straight line. There we go. I'm just going to rub out all the bits in between. So I've got my box, and then I'm going to go back towards this vanishing point here. I'm going to do it there as well, and there as well. Then I can come down with a vertical line and across with a horizontal line, and then just finish that piece off there. And I've basically just created a box in 3 dimensions like that from the bits in between. Now it does say that the little table has to have 4 legs, so to add those 4 legs, quite simply, as I'm going to put 2 vertical lines either side and a horizontal line like so. I'm going to do the same thing here, and I'm going to go back to the vanishing point still, very faint line straight across, just so you can see it there, like that. And to make it 3D, there needs to be a bit of shadow here, and then this needs to go back to the vanishing point. That little tiny tidgy line there is going back to the vanishing point, and then a little bit of shadow under here as well. And that's going to go back as well, isn't it? This laminate flooring, you're going to see that underneath. And then I can get rid of this bit and this bit and zoom out. There we go. Now lastly, we need to draw Jeff. So I'm going to start with an oval, and then I'm going to put a circle in, and I'm sketching this. Notice how I'm using that sketching technique I've taught you before. Another oval underneath because we need him to have some water to breathe in, or to exist in. And then here comes Jeff. There he is, having a great time in his little bowl. And then we can add a little bit of highlight there as well, and a tiny little bit of shadow just to finish him off there. There we go. And because it's see-through, I might be able to see through that table. Wonderful. Right, we've got that as well. Wall-mounted TV set. Where should we stick the television? I suppose we could stick part of it over here, and it might just be that I'm coming back to my vanishing point. Do something like that, and then a vertical line, and that's just going to creep off the edge of the page. So my television is going to have a little board around it, very similar to the window. Maybe a little bit there like that, and then probably something like this, probably shaded in to show that there's like that matte black screen that you get from a television screen. And you can just see it in the corner of the room. It's there. I followed the specification point, but I ran out of room in the main place. So if you want to do the same thing, you can do. If you want to put it on this wall or one of the walls, you can. Feel free. But it's there so you can sit in bed and you can watch television. Lastly, I've got this coving to do. So I'm going to place in a line across the back. And then from the vanishing point, I'm going to copy this line straight through to the back there like that. I'm going to get rid of these construction lines. I don't need those. What I am going to need to do is add a tiny bit of thickness like that. And then straight across the top like that. And then again from the vanishing point, I'm going to pull it out. 2 lines like that just finish off my drawing. I'm going to use my eraser to just clean up these edges, get rid of these construction lines that I don't need now. Zoom out, and just to finish off, what I'll do is I'll place in a little oval at the top, and then add in a little light bulb to finish off. And there you have it. We have our 1-point perspective drawing there. And as you can see, even with those lines on those construction lines are still there, still visible. It's a really nice crisp drawing. There's lots of detail in there. We could add more. We could add windows onto this side over here if we wanted to. We could add like a picture frame. We could add wallpaper designs, all sorts of things. So really nice 1-point perspective drawing there. Let's just have that like that. There we go, and make it nice and big so we can see it. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's our 1-point perspective drawing. That's what I'd like you to complete at home. And if you get stuck, you can watch this tutorial and I can guide you through how I'd create it. Let's head back to home base and finish off. Okay, so what have we learned in today's session? We've gone through how to create a 1-point perspective drawing using that vanishing point, that X in the middle of our page, to strike out all of our lines. We've learnt that using 2-dimensional shapes to begin with could help you create your idea and to project your lines backwards in that perspective. We followed a 10-point specification of list of ideals that they have to have inside it, and if I place that list up here for you guys to see, or if you need to, you can pause it at the start of the video. As always, I will link us to another video, so I'm going to go on from our next video now to a 2-point perspective drawing, which you'll find here. And so that you don't miss another video, consider subscribing. It's free, it helps my channel out, and you'll never miss another video. Until next time, stay safe. Bye now.